Live from Lookout Mountain, it's the place for news, starting now.
Keith, right now you are watching the two barges make contact with the Weber Falls Dam.
You saw it live on our air at noon today. Two barges slamming into a dam near Weber's Falls. The barges were loose and out of control in the Arkansas River. Plus, all eyes this evening on what's happening at Keystone Dam. The floodgates are opening wider and more water pouring into the Arkansas River. That's going to have a major impact on cities downstream. And those sirens you're hearing every half hour are warning that the flood is coming. We have team coverage tonight with my co-anchor Neely Jones. She's live in Tulsa right now on the west bank of the rising Arkansas River. We're going to get to her in just a moment. But first, we start with the big story of the day, those barges hitting Lock and Dam 16 in Muskogee County. Channel 8's Haley Huey was there as it all unfolded. Haley.
Yes, Mark, dozens of people, including myself, were standing right here watching the two barges float down the Arkansas River, many of us holding our breath as it made impact.
It's a moment in time no one will soon forget. Two barges smashing into the dam.
Holy crap, this is really about to happen.
And it did.
This is going to be talked about for many years.
During Wednesday evening storms, the barges broke loose on the Arkansas River in Muskogee County. Then earlier this morning, authorities found them lodged on some rocks, but crews weren't able to secure them because the water was so strong. Hours later, the current pulled them out and they were off again, heading down the river to the dam.
It's hard for anyone to plan this magnitude of an event, but definitely there's probably going to be a lot of questions asked from engineers and locals at how that happened.
Some of those questions, what damage this will cause.
It could provide added stress to the other gates that are open. From the west, gates 4, 5, and 6 are blocked. Partially, of course, the water's going up over the barges and just restricting flow in those 3 gates.
One of the barges had fertilizer in it, but Muskogee County Emergency Management says that won't cause an issue.
Steps on what we're taking after the barges have impacted the dam. We're just going to continue to monitor that and see if any large pieces break loose.
For Ronnie Davis, who saw it happen firsthand, says this town is just waiting to see how it's going to affect them.
It'll be something to tell your grandkids about.
Now, good news for drivers. We did just find out from OHP that the Weber's Falls Bridge over I-40 is now back open. Also, the Corps of Engineers has performed an assessment test on the dam. They say the first one went okay, but they do plan to do a second one, and we'll, of course, let you know how that goes. Reporting live, Haley Huey, Tulsa's Channel 8.
Haley, thank you. Now to the other big story of the day. The water along the Arkansas River is rising. Many homeowners are already feeling the impact. Let's check in with my co-anchor Neely Jones live on the West Bank. Neely, what are you seeing so far?
You know, I want to take a look at what we examined earlier today. So behind me, you can see the city of Tulsa. You can see the water is high. But let's look over here at these benches where you can sit. When we first got here, probably about 3:30, you could still see the legs on these benches. As you can see, they're quickly disappearing. The water is going to move up. We are right by, on the west bank, the bike trails, and people are still on the upper level. The lower level is starting to be covered with water. This is something we're going to continue to see happen. And as you know, we're going to hear the siren sound every 30 minutes. You heard those at the top of the show, and we just learned Broken Arrow will air their sirens one time today, about 5 o'clock for 3 minutes. That's, I know, a different situation, but there's a lot happening here. We want to remind people, because I've had a lot of people texting me to ask, if you want to volunteer as the situation unfolds, we are being told to tell you to dial the 211 number, and emergency management will tell you how to volunteer. Don't just show up someplace. They want to keep it organized, so we're sending people to the right places. As you know, we're going to have another briefing tonight at 6:30 where we learn what's next. They are watching the levees closely. I've been in close contact with Commissioner Karen Keith. She's going to try to meet us here momentarily and fill us in. But Mark, really what we're watching is water rising. We also want to remind people the health department has been saying, don't get in these waters if you have any open cuts, because we don't know what's in the water, and you don't want to get an infection, and it can be dangerous, and there's a lot of debris.
Yeah, the sirens that we're going to hear every half hour, they're there for a warning, but Neely, as you know, it just adds to the fear and the apprehension for people that live downstream from Keystone Dam.
Right. One of the things that they've been telling people too, and this was reiterated to me to relay, do not wait. If you live in the floodplain, do not wait until dark to evacuate. They want you to evacuate before dark. They want you to take things with you that you'll need. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the B block, but just to give you an idea, medications you might need for up to 2 weeks, clothing, take the family pet with you, turn off the electricity to your home. We can't say this enough because it's better to be prepared than underprepared.
You've been there for a couple hours now. How much of a change have you seen in the water level since you since you've been there?
You know, it's been pretty significant. Like, you know, we're slowly watching it come up, but at the same time, for the situation that we're in, it's a little faster than we expected. You can really get a good idea of that on the benches that we were showing you earlier. We couldn't see the legs of those benches. We can't see the legs of those benches anymore, but we could see them when we got here, so that should tell you something. And again, this is going to just continue to progress, and we'll find out later if they're going to increase the level or keep it the same as they plan for the next 4 days.
All right, Neely Jones on the west bank of the Arkansas River here in Tulsa. We'll check back in with her in just a moment. Tulsa Area Emergency Management warns of more flooding. County leaders are most worried about the following neighborhoods: Candlestick Beach just below the dam, Town and Country and Meadow Valley in Sand Springs, as well as Garden City and Cherry Hill in West Tulsa. In South Tulsa, Wind Hill and along 121st from the river to Sheridan. The fear of flooding ramped up today when the Army Corps of Engineers increased the flow out of Keystone Dam to 250,000 CFS. Channel's Kim Jackson is on the other side of the river from where Neely is. Kim, what's it look like from Riverside Drive?
Well, this water continues to creep up here on the trail. It wasn't like this, but in minutes, you know, you can see what's happening. The water from the river just coming straight up here. Pretty soon, this will be completely impassable. And right now, you can hear the sirens going off, warning people that there is flooding happening in this area. The mayor says he knows there will be property damage, but they're also concerned about possibly lives being lost.
It's pretty terrifying.
The massive amounts of water, the Keystone Dam channeling 250,000 cubic feet per second.
We just wanted to see it in person, which the pictures don't do it justice.
Shelby Burris and Suzanne Stammer drawn to the dam to see the historic levels flowing all the way to Midtown Tulsa and beyond.
We're going to see property damage with this. At this point, there's no question about that. We're already seeing property damage by it. But what could make this a tragedy is if we lose a human life.
Mayor G.T. Bynum and the emergency management team warning Tulsans the water is rising faster than they may realize, already flooding out trails at river parks and even rising above some parts of the old pedestrian bridge, now at the gathering place. But it's the levees causing concern, raising questions if they will be able to stand up against the rushing water. Authorities are watching them closely.
That as the water sits on the levees, the longer that duration, the more risk we have for failures. But we are amping up all eyes on the levee to make sure if we have any issues that we are on it immediately.
The PSO electric plant sits behind one of the levees, but so far expected to be safe. But with homes along the Arkansas River already flooding, officials are asking residents to listen to the sirens and be ready to move quickly.
If you can see the river and you're next to it, you probably need to go ahead and look at getting out.
And you can hear the sirens still going off, and people are still here spectating, still going through this water. You can see out there, he's not in the actual river. It's a drainage area between the river and Riverside Drive. A man on a kayak, so he's been doing this for about an hour now. He's been out here, but also one concern that police have, people being out here. Police cars have been coming through here warning people that this is a flood area. If they don't leave, then they're pretty much going to be on their own, so they want to be careful. Live on Riverside Drive, Kim Jackson, Tulsa's Channel 8.
All right, Kim, thank you. More water still going into the dam than what's coming out, and because of that, the Manford area is bracing for possible flooding. Water is covering the road to the marina, making it impossible to pass through. Some of the areas are already underwater, like the park near the Manford Middle School. And take a look at this homeowner's dock. He says he can normally drive to it, but water levels are so high he has to use his kayak to get there. Wow. Checking in now with Chief Meteorologist Dan Threlka. We've gotten a lot of rain. How much rain have we gotten so far?
In around the Manford area, they have had as much as 8.5 inches of rain just in the last Mark, coming up.
So much going on. Dan, thank you. Tonight, a Bixby community is coming together to help their neighbors. Lots of people are already putting out sandbags to those areas prone to flooding. Channel 8's Stephen Seeley is live at White Hawk Golf Course with people doing last-minute preparations. Stephen.
Hundreds have gathered here to White Hawk Golf Course, and they are here bagging sand to make sure that their homes are stable just in case something happens. But it's their past experiences that make them flood ready. Taking precaution.
I mean, they're saying we're going to get up to two foot in that flood area, so we're preparing for the worst, yeah.
Before it's too late, people of Bixby got in their trucks to haul hundreds and hundreds of sandbags, each with their own story.
Like that first run of bad weather, that tornado, that funnel that was coming down was like right over where I live.
Many of the people bagging sand have already evacuated their homes, not waiting around before something bad happens.
Something like this. We've seen a lot of rain, water levels get high, but we've never experienced anything like this, no.
During severe weather prep, it takes a community to make sure everyone is taken care of. Folks with knowledge of the past.
October of '86, and so it took the water on Keystone Dam was actually breaching the top of the road, the top of the dam.
As for now, homeowners wait and see what will happen next. Now, this sandbagging operation will continue as long as people continue to show up. I spoke with the city of Bixby, and they tell me that the neighborhoods that were under the evacuation order from yesterday, it's going to be the same for today. Live in Bixby, Stephen Seeley, Tulsa's Channel 8.
A lot of activity in Bixby this afternoon. Stephen, thank you. The Arkansas River is not the only source of flooding. Army Corps of Engineers is going to release more water from other lakes as well. Lake Skytook, because the lake there has reached capacity.
That will affect areas along Bird Creek. And we continue to make large releases from Fort Gibson Dam. So we have impacts downstream Muskogee and downstream from Muskogee where we have the ongoing flood, and we forecast peak flow in the Muskogee area and downstream from there of around 530,000 cubic feet per second.
Yeah, that's a lot there. Once again, he says the peak flow in the Muskogee area and downstream from there will reach 530,000 cubic feet a second.
Tracking energy out to the west, those storms are severe. I'll let you know if any of this is going to creep our way as we get into tonight and tomorrow. The complete forecast is coming up.
We've had history in Oklahoma of taking care of each other, and we've always called it the Oklahoma Standard.
Bring country to the Capitol. Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen is monitoring things here, the push for funding from the feds. Right now, the water along the Arkansas River is rising. Many Tulsa homeowners are already feeling the impact. Let's check back in with my co-anchor Neely Jones. She's live on the West Bank. You have a great view of the rising water, don't you?
We really do. I'm going to step out so you guys can see the Blue Rose. We are on the West Bank, as Mark mentioned. You can see the Blue Rose restaurant, which they have been closed for a while now. You can also see the people over there watching the water. As we continue to move this way, you can see the benches that we've been watching. We were able to see the legs when we first got here. Now we can't. I've been speaking with Karen Keith, County Commissioner. My home flooded as a little girl in 1984. We learned a lot of things from that. This is not the same situation, but what we've learned from that situation can be helpful here. They are telling people again, please evacuate if you are in the 100-year floodplain. You need to take a lot of things with you. You want to take those documents with you that you might need, like birth certificate, your passport, marriage license, things like that, and put things that you really care about up high before you leave. Mark?
All right, Neely, thank you very much. You know, Oklahomans are used to severe weather, and helping each other during storm season is what we're used to. We sat down with Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen in tonight's Connect to Congress. He's staying on top of what's happening here from Washington, D.C.
You see these towns that are being flooded, towns that are being evacuated. You have rivers that are hitting record crest, and it is it's devastating to a lot of our communities right now. But we'll get through it. We always do. Oklahoma Emergency Management Team, they've hit the ground running, and then the backstop is us, and the federal government will be a backstop for them.
Mullen adds Governor Stitt has been extremely helpful for those battling these floods.
From the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center, your first warning forecast, certified as Tulsa's most accurate weather.
Our storm chaser Jesse Post, he's been out across parts of northwest.
Ranger 8, powered by Osage Casino and Hotel.
National Weather Service confirms this tornado that touched down in Mangum is an EF2. If you remember, we first showed you this video right here on our 5 o'clock news on Monday. And I've heard there have been 170 unconfirmed tornadoes here in Oklahoma since last Friday.
That'll get pared down once they do site surveys, but again, way too many.
Way too many. All right, thanks, Dan.